And is there someone certain in your life that you remember that really drastically changed everything for you? Because I'm curious. From every great player comes a great coach.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And now you're taking on the role of being a coach.
Sure.
And you're doing an awesome job. I'm just curious to know where that all fired up from.
You know, I've learned a lot from people, and
Okay.
I can't say that there's one person who has led me to where I'm at right now.
All right.
I can't say that. What I can say is there's a lot of influential people out there. Go learn something from all of them. I don't subscribe to this, all you need is one mentor or two mentors.
Okay.
We live in a world of information. Now, the reason they're saying that is because don't just seek information, execute. Don't just learn from me, go practice. You get it? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can get distracted because you have too much information.
True.
So you go into a state of procrastination,
and you don't do
confusion,
anything.
or seeking perfection.
Yeah.
So you don't do anything. So the only reason they see that, I prefer a modified approach. Whether I'm borrowing things from, the great Tony Robbins, or a manager that I had during my career. Maybe it's part of something that I read in a book. And you remember when I told you about that point of frustration? And I know there's people out there in the audience that are either in sales or in business or are thinking about getting into it. Or maybe you're not, and your income is up and down, up and down, up and down. And it holds you back from doing important things in your life, like committing to a relationship, like raising a child, or like getting married, or like becoming an entrepreneur, or making whatever that jump is for you. You get it? So when you don't feel that you have the confidence to consistently grow, small peaks and valleys, it holds you back in many areas of your life. Make sense?
Yes, I'm following you.
So
I relate to this a lot. So
yeah, whether it's my diet or my skills or my business sense, I love to observe different people, right? Especially people who are massively more successful than me. Mm-hmm. And I like to look at their formula. And if they're super religious or they're super romantic about it, I don't just subscribe to them because I understand why they're like that. Instead, I'm self-aware. Take a look at your life, figure out what it is that is most important to you, and go look for people, tactics, and ideas and strategies that apply to your life right now. That's why a lot of us mentors don't like the question, what book should I read? Well, I don't know where you're at. I don't know where you're at in your life, dude.
Yeah.
Like what I would read right now might be too advanced for you. And there's some great books out there. Like if you've got to ask me what's a good book to read, you either can't afford the internet, right? Or you're so stuck in this matrix of mediocrity, which we'll get to in a minute, which is big. I need to drop that on your audience so that they're aware of this. It'll change your career forever. But they're stuck in this matrix of mediocrity. They know how to buy things online. They know how to plan vacations, and they know how to book dinners, and they know how to watch funny videos, but they forgot that they can use the same device to go search for the information that they need.
I think the problem with that is an overload of content and quote unquote professionals that come into a field and say, I know and I have your answers, right? And then they give you like this step-by-step process because the novice who don't know really better than what they know online,
Sure.
They look at this and you're like, oh, okay, this seems simple, so they try this, and then they get someone else, they try that, and they get someone else, they try that, and then you end up ending in this huge confusion. Huge realization for me recently with my business. I'm like, wait, I can't follow what you just said right now. I can't follow this specific step or this specific step because it may not work for my story or my business or my strategy, or I might just work differently.
So one of the reasons that people consume a lot of information before they do anything is because they never do anything.
But it's the fear. It's the fear.
You can call it whatever you want. When you consume something that you can use, you have to implement it right away.
Instantly.
Don't just bounce to the next piece of information. I'm not saying going out there and study 300 people and don't make a move. I'm saying, like when I mentor my clients, we study something, I teach them the psychology, we script it out, we role play how it's going to go, and we implement the same day before I lay on another course.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you like keep them accountable and all that stuff.
Yeah, the key is that people are becoming fascinated or entertained with retaining knowledge, but they're retaining so much knowledge that they don't know what to implement.
I've been through that. I know exactly what you're talking about. You go through this like hiccup because it's like, I have so much, I don't know where to start.
Right. So you need to take a chunk, implement, practice. Take another chunk, implement, practice. And if you're absorbing a lot of knowledge, at least break it up and realize what's most important, what's going to have the most impact on me right away. What is immediately applicable to my life, my business, or my sales, and use that. Don't just get fascinated. Have you noticed people out there memorizing quotes, reading books just for the sake of conversation?
Just to look good.
Yeah, there's
It's
so
just to
many.
look good.
There are influences out there. The 90% of their material is just regurgitating what another influencer said.
100%.
You understand?
Yeah. I'm
So
following.
it's starting to become a pattern. It's like a painting you put on the wall. It's cool the first time you see it, the second time you see it, but after a while you don't even see it anymore.
Yeah.
So it has no impact. So learn, implement. That's the key.
So with you, now that you're training, you're in the sales industry, what makes you so special? What makes you stand out? You call it sales domination. Tell me what that means.
Yeah, so domination selling is two-part. It's a mindset, first of all, that if I were to sum it up for you, I would say in the new economy, which I'll explain the new economy to you here in a minute, very important that people understand this, because what I'm about to describe during this podcast is going to uncover and awaken you to a lot of the challenges that you're having, whatever that may be in your career or life. But domination selling is based on a domination mindset, which says don't seek to be competitive in this economy. Because if you're seeking to be competitive, that means you're waiting for somebody else to level up. And then you're competing with that. If you're in a domination mindset, you're observing what's happening in your industry, but you're saying, how can I be 4 times greater? How can I be 5 times greater? How can I better understand my audience? How can I better understand my customer? How can I better deliver value? What happens in sales is our sales training gets handed down from one person to another, especially within one industry. And no matter what industry I coach in, and no matter what company I go to, everyone thinks your company is so unique. You're not unique, bro. You're not unique. 98% of the words that come out of your mouth are being used across your whole industry and then across sales. So in domination selling, you have to be aware of something I call sales patterns, which would be aware of your sales patterns, because if customers are hearing it from everyone, it loses its luster, it loses its value.
Just like you said about the meeting.
So if all salespeople sound the same to the customer, 2 things happen. No matter how sincere you are about helping me, I can't tell because you sound like a salesperson, which means you could be telling me things just to close me.
Wow. Okay.
And if I can't tell the difference between one sales approach and another sales approach, then I don't know who to choose. So I base it off of price, or I procrastinate.
So you're saying with your method, you can still charge higher and get it, not like and actually be able to deliver on.
It's not about what you charge. It's about understanding, communication. People, customers are adapting to how we sell much more quickly. Okay. A customer gets sold 100 times more per week than they did just 5 years ago. That wasn't the case in the previous economy. So if you go out, if you're a young person and you go out and every night somebody says, can I get you a drink? Can I get you a drink? Can I buy you a dinner? Can I buy you a dinner? Can I buy you a dinner? Eventually, can I buy you a dinner means can I hit on you? It doesn't actually mean can we enjoy a dinner?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I follow you 100%.
So, right, no matter what type of sales you're in, you have to ask yourself, first step we do is remove almost all of your industry language. Sounds simple. Try to do it. The next question I get is, then what do I replace it with? Well, the English vocabulary is very large. Try to have a more meaningful conversation. Stop looking at your customer as a transaction, an application process, or a sales process, and start looking at your customer as a human and a friend.
Wouldn't you say that's an easier approach?
When I say remove industry language.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, wouldn't you say, like, I'm trying to think of it, right? Isn't your way of doing it, quote unquote, easier?
No.
Because you're just connecting.
That's perception. People go, it's easier. Then the next person says, that's a lot to change. It's going to take me a while.
Oh, okay.
Everything in life is easy if you say it is.
I see. Okay.
Right?
It just sounds like a more simple method to me.
Well, again, anytime you ask a human to make change, they're typically resistant to that.
Yeah.
So whether it's easier or not is not the determining factor.
Makes sense. Yeah, I follow.
It's the understanding that things become easier as you practice.